What is going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. It is Kurt Yazja on the show, and on today's episode, I am going to dive more specifically into a personal topic of mine, self-discipline. Yep, that's right. We're going to talk about how to be in control of yourself, how to take control, how to discipline yourself in a proper way. So stay tuned because I got a lot of good, cool stuff I'm going to free flow on and really talk about in this episode. So self-discipline, this is a topic that I really picked up interest in when I started listening to Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is a speaker who passed away, for those of you who don't know, but he really talked a lot about the ideas around disciplining yourself. He's got a bunch of great CDs out there. If you've never listened to his stuff, highly recommend it. But one of the biggest programs that I've heard is called The Power of Ambition. And on The Power of Ambition, one of the biggest things Jim talks about is self-discipline. And up until I had kind of heard him explain the concept, I'd always thought of self-discipline as kind of an overkill rule, over formality, not fun, just something that's not good at all, just kind of not welcomed.
Oh, hell no!
But self-discipline is actually what you want. When you think about it, you're going through your life and there are rules. You're not getting rid of rules by not having self-discipline. You're just living by rules that are lower quality rules. Like if you don't have any discipline to follow the laws that you imply within yourself, the laws will come in and discipline you. And those results, those consequences are going to be a lot less pleasant than the ones you have if you follow the order society has set. The same goes for your financials. If you don't have a good plan to discipline yourself on how you spend, set budgets, do things with your finances, well, the world is not a forgiving place when it comes to finances. Economics is a system. If you spend money here, you're not going to have money to spend there. You have to have a budget. You have to balance things. If you don't have enough income, you have to figure out how to make more income or lower what you expect you can buy. But what if you could actually create the rules that allow you to have more income than you need, or be a better abiding citizen than you actually need to be?
It was hard for me to give up my old blame list. It was so comfortable blaming the government and blaming my negative relatives and the company policy, unions, wage scale, economy, interest rates, prices and circumstances and all that. That was difficult for me to give up.
Wouldn't that give you freedom, or at least the feeling of power that you would have over yourself?
It's not what happens that determines the major part of your future. It's not what happens. What happens to us all. He said the key is what you do about it.
Well, that's what the idea of self-discipline is all about. It's about disciplining yourself in a way where you can take control and actually get ahead in the world.
And he said if you will start that process of change, do something different the next 90 days than you did the last 90 days, like picking up the books to read. Do something different, like the new health disciplines, relationship with your family, whatever it is, doesn't matter how small it is. If you'll start doing different things with the same circumstances, since we cannot change the circumstances, but we can change ourselves. We can change what we do.
It's not about setting unnecessary rules or making your life entirely formal. Although for some people, outside of like people who are actually clinically OCD, it's probably a good thing to add some rigidity and some formality to your lives. I personally naturally am more formal, so it's not really a challenge for me to keep things organized. But for a lot of people I've worked with in the past as well as currently, they're not. And so us working together, it's been kind of a bit of a challenge, a little bit of a transition in the communication and how we work together. And that's fine. But for me, self-discipline is really about giving yourself the power. So on this topic, we're gonna really talk about three main points that I think are critical, practical, applicable advice. So I didn't want this to just to be a rant about self-discipline. What I'm gonna tell you right now is there's 3 points that I really wanna cover. One of the first ones I'm gonna talk about is disciplining yourself to review your goals every single day. I've said this before, I'll say it again. You need to know where you are, where you want to go, and that's how you're gonna basically get to where you got to go. And really knowing where you want to go is a lot about having discipline to create the clarity and direction and have those goals front and center. So self-discipline, discipline yourself so that you have your goals in front of you every single day. For myself personally, the first thing I do every morning when I step into my office is I write down goals for about 15 minutes. And that really clarifies, it reminds me, it refocuses me on what's important. So highly recommend, write your goals every morning. Don't skip a day, maybe Sunday. I take Sundays off usually, but write them almost every day of the week. Build a habit, build the discipline of having that clarity. The second thing is you want to write your reasons for the goals. And this is important because if you're trying to get across the Rocky Mountains, but you don't realize that California and a bunch of gold is on the other side, as the settlers did when they were actually going across the Rockies, it's probably not going to be very easy to continue on that trip, especially when you think about it back in the day when they're using wagons and horses, and it's just it's way more of a challenge. So when you're crossing something very difficult, whether it's building a business or growing a relationship with somebody that's important to you in your life, or training physically for maybe an endurance activity or for a sport, it's really important to remember why. Why am I going to the gym every day? Why am I picking up the phone and calling this person? Why am I shooting this video right now every Wednesday, every week, putting out this content? And remembering that why gets you through the tougher times. So discipline yourself to remember your targets, your goals every single day, and discipline yourself to write down and remember the why for those targets, because the whys are super important for you to get through the tough times, which you're gonna have. The last thing I'll say is leverage mini habits. Mini habits are great. They are like the super cheat code of today, if you ask me. There's a guy named Stephen Guise. He wrote a book. It's called Mini Habits. If you haven't read it, go check it out. His other book is called How to Be an Imperfectionist, and that's also probably worthwhile reading or listening to. The audio is really good on it. But mini habits are really simple. The concept is that it takes about 95% of the energy of building a habit in the starting phases. So once you start an activity, you've gotten past that inertia, you're actually gonna have a lot of success. You're not gonna be stumped, not gonna be challenged. But until you get that process started, you have a lot of momentum not working in your favor. And it's really hard. So lower the bar, make the habit that you're trying to do very small. So in this case, with disciplining yourself to write your goals every morning, discipline yourself to write one goal. Just say, I have to open my journal and write down one goal. That's a mini habit. Do that. That's your only requirement. If you decide you don't want to do it after that, that is fine. But now you've gotten through the process. What you're going to find though is that you typically will just start writing more and more and more. And it's just going to keep going on from there. So that is what mini habits are. Highly recommend you leverage those. They really help people get through tough times, and they help you build habits when it's been really challenging to build a habit. So check those out. Review your goals every day. Review the whys to your goals every day, and use mini habits to kind of cheat code it and get those things built into your regimen. Again, remember, you're living in a world where there are rules. Whether or not you like it, you're on an economic planet. You're defined by your bank account, how much money you have, the resources financially you have to do the things you want to do, to have time, to have the freedom to do things. Why not discipline yourself to get ahead of that game? Set the rules, set the whys, condition yourself to remember the reasons and have the disciplines and have the rituals and the habits in place to really get ahead.
If you'll start working harder on yourself than you do on your job, work hard on yourself and develop the skills. Work hard on yourself and develop the graces. All of the stuff necessary to become more valuable to the marketplace. I'm telling you, your whole life can explode into change.
So I think that really covers this shorter bit, but I hope it was really valuable. I would love to hear your feedback. Let me know what you thought. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment, shoot me some feedback. And until next time, keep crushing.